What if I told you most investors, not just in Indonesia, tapi around the world, underperform against the market? This is backed by a long-running study, Dalbar, bahwa selama 30 tahun, average investor itu hanya mencetak performance sekitar 7% per tahun, dan S&P 500 kurang lebih mencetak keuntungan sekitar 10% per tahun. That 3% of a difference might seem very, very small and trivial, tapi if you compound them over time, that's the difference between financial freedom and constant frustration. And the craziest thing is that it's not because people are unlucky, but it's because they make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Dan gimana caranya lu bisa membuat the same mistakes over and over and over and over again? The only way for you to do that adalah you don't realize that you are making that mistakes in the first place. Bayangin kayak kalau lu main padel, kamu mukul terus kena net terus kayak kamu mikir, kok gue apes banget ya? Gue tiap mukul bola selalu hit the net. Padahal bukannya lu apes, tapi lu berdiri di court yang salah aja gitu. Mungkin lu berdiri di death zone-nya paddle. Pas lu geser dikit ke depan atau ke belakang, your whole game changes. All of a sudden you start making those shots, and then you become that paddle pro that everybody likes. Now investing works the same way. The difference between outperformance and underperformance often just comes down to awareness, knowing where you stand and where you might be wrong. I work with Budi, a licensed investment advisor under OJK. And over the past few years, our team has helped hundreds of professionals, entrepreneurs, and early employees to invest smarter in this harsh capital market, the IDX. And what we do is really, really simple. We help people stay patient, not fearful, not greedy, and we focus on buying good quality companies at cheap prices. You can think of us like your personal trainers for your investments. We only earn when your portfolio hits an all-time high, and that's a milestone for us. So we grow only when you do. In this video, gue mau share beberapa kesalahan yang amat sangat umum, yang sering banget gue lihat, dan lebih dari 1000 orang yang kayak gue udah ngomong tentang investasi mereka. Dan sebenarnya ini kesalahan yang amat sangat mudah untuk diperbaiki, dan kalau misalnya kamu bisa sadar tentang kesalahan ini lebih awal, kamu bisa memiliki competitive advantage yang amat sangat kuat. Because think about it, all of these people, all of these retail investors, 99.9% of them keep on making these mistakes, and they don't know that they are making these mistakes, and you have the chance to understand them and do something about it. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1, price of an asset drops 50%. Means that the price lagi diskon 50%. Nah, ini kesalahan yang amat sangat common yang gue lihat. Kenapa? Karena kalau misalnya Bose kayak gitu, ya kan? Gue jual lu harganya 1M kayak gitu. Oke? Lu mau beli atau enggak? Mungkin lu bakal cek Tokped, terus lu ngeliat harganya top, lu penipu lu. Ini 3 juta rupiah harganya kayak gitu kan. No, enggak. Ini 1M, abis itu gue diskon 50%. Jadi 500 juta. Ayo bro, ini murah bro. Udah gue kasih lu diskon asetnya, lu mau beli atau enggak? So it's the same. Lu ada lihat saham, misalnya dia harganya 5.000 rupiah gitu kan per lembar saham, terus dia di diskon 2.500, ya kan? Just because price actionnya pernah naik dari 100 ke 5.000 kayak gitu di awal mulanya, terus dia 5.000 turun ke 2.500, bukan berarti sahamnya itu tiba-tiba diskon 50% dan sahamnya itu jadi murah tuh, karena underlying asetnya itu bisa jadi mahalnya kebangetan. Mistake number 2, future performance mirror past performance. Ya kan, kalau misalnya saham udah naik 10 kali lipat, ya, dari 100 ke 1000, artinya apa? Artinya bakal dari 1000 bakal ke 10.000 gitu. Which is wrong again, kayak gitu. Kalau misalnya harga saham naik dari 100 ke 1000, ya artinya ada orang yang mau beli di harga 1000 karena mereka ngarep saham itu bisa dibeli di harga yang lebih tinggi. Tapi akankah saham itu bakal mirror performance yang dari 100 ke 1000? Sangat tidak pasti. Dan kalau misalnya fundamental dari perusahaannya itu tidak mencukupi, tidak bisa memenuhi ekspektasi dari investor sahamnya, yang ada ya investor bakal TP lah gitu kalau misalnya dia udah naik ke 1000 atau dari 1500 2000 gitu. Ingat, kalau misalnya past performance does not never guarantee future performance. Mistake number 3, target price is meant to make you rich. Target price itu ada di sana bisa dengan macam-macam alasannya. Bisa emang karena target price itu beneran, atau enggak karena hitung-hitungan dari sebuah analis, atau enggak, dan lain sebagainya. Kalau misalnya target price-nya itu bombastis, bukan berarti saham tersebut itu harus mencapai target price tersebut. Karena kalau misalnya saham itu mencapai target price-nya, yang udah kaya itu bukannya legendary investor dan lain sebagainya, tapi yang udah kaya adalah orang yang bikin target price tersebut. Ya kan, mereka bisa bikin aja target price-nya, wah pasti tercapai. Itu enggak pasti itu tercapai. Bisa tercapai, yes, tapi more often than not, it's usually just a tool untuk supaya orang bisa bersemangat untuk berinvestasi lah, so to speak. Yang lebih penting dari research report yang ngeluarin target price itu biasanya alasan kenapa mereka ngerasa target saham ini memiliki target price ini. Kalau misalnya alasannya make sense, bagus, good. Tapi kalau misalnya alasannya some pipe dream yang menggunakan expectation of the future yang amat sangat tinggi, yang tidak realistis, then it's good for investors to exercise caution and really be asking ourselves and be intellectually honest tentang validity of the analysis before you make investment decisions. Even yang ngasih target price-nya dari institusi-institusi terkenal, I don't care. I just care about the quality of your analysis. Mistake number 4, up 20% means that you should take profit. Well, again, it really depends kan. Again, kita pakai contoh Bose ini kan. Kalau misalnya dia harga actual value-nya itu 3 juta rupiah gitu kan. Terus gue dapat ini Bose-nya di 1 juta rupiah. Terus udah naik 20% nih, 1.200.000. Does that mean kayak I need to take profit and sell it to you? No. This Bose is valuable to me and it's worth 3 million. Why should I sell it to you at 1.2 million? Mau besok dia turun ke 1.100.000, I still think that this is worth 3 million. So, the fact that this thing goes up for 20% does not mean that I have to secure my profits, take profit all the time. Enggak, tergantung dari intrinsic value dari perusahaan-perusahaan yang kita beli itu kayak gimana. Kalau misalnya emang sudah nyampe intrinsic value-nya, ya you can take profit. Tapi kalau misalnya enggak, ya just keep holding it. Kayak, there's nothing wrong with holding good assets kan sebenarnya. Especially if the asset is far below its intrinsic value. Mistake number 5, buying courses yang super duper expensive untuk belajar quote-unquote investasi atau belajar quote-unquote trading. Kesalahannya bukan beli mahal-mahalnya itu, tapi kesalahannya adalah mikir kalau misalnya, oh itu amat sangat mudah untuk kita kerjain kayak gitu. Karena kita udah bayar mahal, pasti kayak course-nya bagus dan kita pasti jadi bagus kayak gitu. No, if you want to be a good investor or if you want to be a good trader, you have to put in the work. You have to get the experience that all these gurus, all these investors yang jualan kelas ke lu itu udah acquire themselves melalui jam terbang yang mereka udah lalui di market. Kalau misalnya itu hal yang emang lu pingin kerjain sebagai source of your active income, go for it. Go ham on the crazy expensive courses, invest in yourself, invest in your skills, dan lain sebagainya. Tapi for most of you who have their full-time job, who have their active income from your businesses, for example, you might want to focus on that brings in a lot of money in the first place instead of tiba-tiba ganti haluan terus oke, gue mau jadi investor. Macam kayak career switch lah. Kalau misalnya lo mau career switch, don't do it. Oke, gue mau career switch sekarang, kayak gue mau jadi dentist gitu ya. It's not like something yang lu do it on a whim. What you can do is you pikir matang-matang, kayak gue beneran mau seriusin di market atau enggak, kayak gue beneran mau nyisihin waktu, let's say 16 hours per week to understand and study, become a better investor, become a better trader or not. If the answer is yes, good luck to you. And hopefully you find success in the world of the market gitu kan. Tapi if the answer is no, then jangan don't spend. I mean, you spend money kalau misalnya buat education dan lain sebagainya supaya lo lebih pinter, okay, no problem. Tapi just understand that for you to be good, it will still require a lot of time and a lot of effort. And if you are not willing to invest in that time and effort to be good, then don't be dissatisfied by just having knowledge. Ultimately, knowledge yang akan lu dapat aja kayak gitu, which frankly speaking, knowledge you can find for free in a lot of like internet channels, including kayak our YouTube channel. Tapi, I mean, the money is yours, so it's up to you. Okay, cool. Mistake number 6. Buying the index has no risk. Ini menurut gue kesalahan yang amat sangat mendarah daging, tapi biasanya orang-orang yang memiliki this mindset adalah orang-orang yang udah kelamaan kuliah atau kerja di luar karena mereka udah ngelihat indeks di Amerika atau di mana-mana itu selalu naik terus, ini mereka mikir, oh ya, buying the index doesn't have any risk kayak gitu. Oh, just buy the index, low cost index funds. Okay, you're gonna get rich in 20-30 years time. Look at the past performance. Again, past performance does not really mirror the future performance. Tapi buying the index has no risk is also wrong karena the risk is still the underlying asset that the index has in the first place gitu. The risk that you are eliminating yourself ketika lu beli index adalah the risk of underperforming against the market. Lu beli index, lu nggak bakal underperform sama market. Tapi kalau misalnya marketnya rungkat kayak gitu, ya lu bakal ikut rungkat. You're guaranteed to underperform portfolio wise if you buy the index. So that's the risk of buying the index. And just because Warren Buffett says, oh yeah, you're better off buying low cost index, you should know that it's still risky still. Okay, so it doesn't really come without any risk. So yeah, please bear that in mind before you buy. Misalnya kayak S&P 500, terus S&P 500 decides to pull another post.com bubble performance, and then without you realizing it, kayak lu CAGR kayak minus berapa persen for like 10 years, you'll be disappointed. You think that doesn't have risk, but yeah, it still has risk. Mistake number 7: buy an asset, let's say X, because insert credible guy, whoever it is, including me, or because Toby says it's gonna go up kayak gitu kan. Wah, bro, don't. Jangan. When I say, let's say in social media atau enggak, even if you've met me in person, kayak I say, oh yeah, X is really good gitu kan. Doesn't really mean that you should buy gitu. When I say that X is good kayak gitu, it does not mean kayak means that it's financial advice, because I'm not obliged to take care of your portfolio. And these influencers yang punya jutaan followers, they are not obliged to take a look at your portfolio gitu kan. So just bear that in mind, that a credible person saying that an asset is gonna go up does not mean that it's a financial advice, does not mean that you should take your financial decisions solely based on the opinion of this person on X. You should look into the asset itself, make sense atau enggak, kayak what's the reasoning gitu kan. If it makes sense and you think that is gonna be more valuable in the future, ya kan, kalau misalnya bakal lebih valuable, go and buy. Yeah, maybe it's a good idea. Tapi kalau misalnya what you should evaluate is you evaluate the reasoning behind why such person thinks that asset is good. Not because this person says this asset is good. Because even if Warren Buffett says that, oh ya, ini perusahaan bagus kayak gitu, Warren Buffett bisa salah. Terus kalau dia salah, lu bakal ngapain, bro? Lu bakal ketok-ketok, dia tua, bro, 90-an umurnya. Just cut him some slack kayak gitu kan. So if a credible person says that an asset is good, doesn't really mean that it's definitely gonna go up. You should still do your own research and be mindful of the risks that is associated with investing. Mistake number 8, there's a hard rule. Kalau misalnya aset ini drop 10%, means that you should cut loss immediately. No bro, again, kayak you look at the asset, kalau misalnya asetnya masih bagus gitu kan, misalnya margin of safety-nya sangat tinggi, 50%, 60%. Kalau misalnya dia drop 10%, shouldn't you consider, buying, adding to your position, or maybe just holding it out gitu kan. So it really depends on the value of the company, value of the asset that you're buying. If it's valuable, kalau misalnya dia lagi di diskon, ya means it's a good thing for you to buy if you have extra cash. Tapi kalau misalnya enggak, then yaudah, it means even 1% drop you should sell. Kalau misalnya ternyata that asset is not as good as you think. Mistake number 10, I want to enter the stock market when it's more stable or less volatile. Brother, if you want to enter the stock market when it's more stable or less volatile, means that you're not going to enter the stock market at all. Stock market is characterized by price volatility on a day-to-day basis because there are just so many market participants that decides to quote, buy and sell the assets. The market gives you the information as to how much is this asset worth based on the market participants on that given day. And your job as an investor is to evaluate whether this asset is fairly priced or super duper unfairly priced. If it's super duper unfairly priced, then it becomes an opportunity for you to buy that asset and, make profit out of it, because market participants, they express the opinions by buying and selling, tapi that opinion does not have to be correct. It can be wrong. It can be absolutely wrong. For the matter, if you are waiting for the market to be not volatile at all, might as well don't enter the bond market, because the bond market juga volatile kok. Kayak kalau misalnya suku bunganya naik atau turun, kayak harga bondnya akan naik atau turun juga. So might as well don't buy anything if you just buy something that is never going to be quoted by anyone for a long period of time until you decide to sell. Tapi if you decide to sell, you juga nggak tahu kayak ini asetnya bagus atau enggak gitu kan. So yeah, bear that in mind. You don't try to avoid the market volatility, but you embrace the market volatility, make it your friend, and exploit and make use of the unfairly priced assets to your advantage as an investor. Mistake number 11. Stock price is down means that company is bad. So when you sell a company, when you sell a stock, it can be for so many reasons, because you need cash, atau enggak because all of a sudden your boss is telling you to sell, atau enggak there's so many reasons why you want to sell stocks. Because there are just so many reasons why you want to sell a stock doesn't mean that when you sell that stock, oh, that stock is bad kayak gitu. It just means that, oh, maybe kayak gue jual sedikit terus kayak gue mau beli yang lain yang mungkin lebih bagus kayak gitu. Tapi fundamentally perusahaan ini sebenarnya masih oke. So when a stock is suffering from a drawdown, like on a day-to-day basis, doesn't mean that the company changes dramatically gitu. Wah, jadi ada yang amat sangat buruk. It doesn't really mean that way. As a matter of fact, event-event yang bikin company itu jadi amat sangat buruk itu sebenarnya cukup langka gitu loh. Not every day company itu yang udah jaya tuh langsung jadi failure overnight tuh, not every day. It's not like that. It's actually a rare opportunity. It's a rare event. Dan kalau misalnya, even kalau misalnya di US, kalau misalnya company tiba-tiba bad, and then you are right gitu kan, company bad, you can short the price, and then you can make money out of it. Yeah, so same. Di Indonesia juga seperti itu. Kalau misalnya harga perusahaan tersebut turun, bukan berarti perusahaan tersebut jadi perusahaan yang jelek. Oke, dan ini sekarang mistake nomor 12, which is mistake yang paling terakhir yang pengen gue bahas. Oke, kalau misalnya lu dapat info orang dalam, artinya lu instantly bakal cuan. Kayak gue sering banget dikasih, oh ya top, temen gue kenal ini nih, ownernya ini, oh ya top, ini kayak gini, oh ya ini bakal digoreng, bakal diangkat seharganya sama bandar, apa ini info A1 apa segala. Right, kayak apa namanya, yes gitu. Lu kalau misalnya dari info orang dalam, lu bisa cuan gitu. Tapi lu bisa cuan dari mana-mana juga sebenarnya, nggak mesti cuma dari info orang dalam doang kayak gitu. And itu lu cuma tinggal pilih, lu mau hidup, lu mau dapat duit caranya dari orang dalam kayak gitu. Kalau misalnya lu semacam buat uang jajan atau enggak kayak nitip sendal apa segala macam, ya terserah lah, kayak spekulasi for fun kayak gitu kan. Tapi imagine if it's your friend and then you receive information from your friend and then lu put a serious amount of money to the information that you receive. Misalnya lu taruh kayak 1M kayak gitu. Itu significant amount of money for you at that point. Terus ternyata informasinya nggak akurat. And then in that instance, 1M-nya nggak usah jadi 500 juta deh, nggak usah nyangkut lah. 1M-nya jadi 900 juta ya tuh udah kayak macam apa ya, rasanya udah kayak nyesek gitu loh, ngerti gak? And it's not because kayak lu lalai atau lu bodoh. There's nothing that changes with your personality, your fundamentally as a person, nothing changes. It's just that you listen to that one information, you act on it, and you act on it irresponsibly with respect to your financial life, because you think that if you get an insider info, you'll always make money. That's not a guaranteed thing gitu. It's not something that is guaranteed. So even when you receive such solicitations or information, always need to bear in mind the risks. There's always risks. Nggak jadi diangkat harga sahamnya, atau nggak misalnya proyek perusahaannya nggak jadi kayak gini, atau apapun itulah. There's always that risk that can happen. So remember to take a look at the worst case scenario, what's gonna happen kalau misalnya things don't go out of plan, and then baru take action accordingly. Take the probability and the expected value from the investments, and then act on it. If you do not want to take unnecessary risks, just be like me. I don't act upon any solicitations or whatever. I just, ya udah, biarin aja. Oh, gue ada informasi, gue dikasih informasi sama temen atau kayak gimana, ya gue ketawa aja, for fun aja. Terus kalau misalnya mereka cuan beneran, I will genuinely congratulate them, and then traktir gue lah bro, kayak gitu. Just kidding. Tapi that's something yang apa ya, it's a rule in life that you will develop by yourself based on your experiences, and then you decide. It shapes you as a character, and everybody's take on this will be different. You might be someone who's really responsible atau enggak, kayak you might be someone yang udah wise kayak gitu. Tapi ya udah, kayak nggak apa-apa kalau misalnya itu sedikit aja, porsi titip sendal nggak apa-apa. You will form your own philosophy. Tapi a good first step adalah knowing that this information is not risk free. You can still get, lu bisa nyangkut gitu dari situ, atau lu bisa ada tetap resikonya lah. no matter how accurate this information is. So yeah, that's all of the mistakes that I can discuss with you today. Start learning from them. Not learning, start be aware of them, because 99.9% of the people who invest, they don't even know that they are making these mistakes. They operate based on what feels right to them, but what feels right to them and to you might not be right for your financial future. So always remember, take care of yourself and be a wiser investor today for your tomorrow. Cheers!